High school sports, we've got it covered. Overtime starts now.
Hello everyone, welcome to Overtime. I'm Reagan Holgate.
And I'm Scott Leber. Over the next 30 minutes, we'll bring you up to speed on tonight's high school football action. We have highlights from North Boone, Rockford Lutheran, and Winnebago.
We check out the Forston Cardinals, and we'll bring you a great matchup from Sycamore between Spartans and Rochelle.
Plus, in our Spotlight segment, we'll meet a talented Freeport pretzel who has very much followed in his father's footsteps.
The Auburn Knights have won their share of Nick 10 championships in boys basketball in recent years. Football has been a different story, though. Their last conference championship in football was in 2016.
Yeah, this year the Knights, they've risen up. They won 3 of their first 4 games. Well, tonight came the big test, a road game at 4-0 Boylan. It's the Gillies Heating and Air Conditioning game of the week. Auburn's last win over Boylan, 2017. The big story tonight, the queen, Natavia Wixon there. She is the state wrestling champ for Boylan. Congrats to Natavia there for that. Connor Dennis on the run here in the second quarter. Big chunk there for the Titans. Donovan Hansard then trying to bounce outside, and boy does he ever get outside. 16 yards and in for the TD. It was 14-0. Second quarter, Anthony Purifoy going to Leonard Spates, and he's got him, and he's pulled down about the 1-yard line. So if you're the Knights, who do you give it to down there? Of course, Patrick DeBose Jr., who just powers in there for the TD. We had a game, it was 14-7, but right before halftime, look at this. Dennis slings it out to Santana English, who makes the juggling grab. That was big because moments later, it's Dennis going to the air again to Philip Dixon. Good job by Dennis buying some time there, and Dixon's got it. That's a 31-yard TD right before the half. That made it 21-7. That was huge. Rasheed Johnson looking pretty good for the Titans, getting outside here with some burst, putting the moves on, and he gets into the end zone. It was 28-7 Titans at that point in the third quarter. How about some defense for the Titans? Abe Alvarado getting into the offensive backfield for the tackle for loss. Austin Alonso had a big ending to this game with a couple of TDs. Here comes one of them. He leaps into the end zone there for the score. Titans go on to beat the Knights big, 42-15. We're joined now by our Nick 10 analyst and the performance manager at Mercy Health Top Performers, Tim Bailey. Tim, some folks thought, okay, the Knights maybe would give the Titans a game tonight. But obviously that didn't work out. What was Auburn's downfall, and what is Auburn still lacking at this point?
I think what the downfall was tonight, just lack of execution. They didn't really reach the red zone a lot like they would probably like tonight. But I think overall, I think Auburn's a better team than what we saw tonight, but the execution really wasn't there. I mean, they only had 146 total yards of offense. They had an array of penalties. Auburn they went 12 for 107 with penalties. They only had 96 yards rushing on the ground and passing. That's their weak link right now. Passing is their weak link. I think if Auburn can figure out how to really improve that passing game as we move forward into the next weeks, I think Auburn's going to be that team that can give some of those other teams that they're going to play in the next few weeks a challenge.
And Coach Ketch told us this week that he wanted to see his Titans put 4 good quarters of football together. How crisp are they tonight?
They were good. They looked good. They were balanced. And I think that's something that we were looking at with Boylan. How well balanced are they? Can they get balance? Can they get that balance back, before they hit Hononegah? And I think they found their stride tonight. You had good running from all 3 backs, and Alonzo, Johnson, and Hansard. They did really well. Now Connor Dennis stepped up big time. He was a little out of sync in the first half, but second half, again, he came alive, and the offense was really clicking on all cylinders tonight.
Yeah, so they did have a lot of penalties, though, Boylan. Maybe set a school record for penalties. They got to clean that up. But you just mentioned Connor Dennis. For
penalties, they were 14 and 125.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. It was pretty bad.
They got to clean that up.
You mentioned Connor Dennis. Let's get a little deeper into the quarterback play tonight for the 2 teams, for Purifoy, too, for Auburn. So.
Yeah, Connor just, what I like to see him do more is just really relax. I'm watching from the sideline, and he's making the right reads, but he's not allowing his receivers to really clear the second level. And if he would have done that, I think he would have done a little bit better job in the passing game tonight in terms of just connecting those passes that he should have made tonight. As it relates to Purifoy, he's just really got to have a little bit more confidence when he's throwing the ball. If you see him back there throwing the ball, he's got a very unorthodox throwing style. He throws sort of sidearm a little bit, and the ball doesn't really come out as well as it should. But I think, what he does with his legs is great, but what he doesn't do with his arm is the actual big thing that we're looking at for Auburn. I mean, can they continue to do what they've been doing offensively without fixing that QB1 position in terms of the pass game.
Let's talk about your boy, Rashid Johnson. You know, he was kind of slowed over the summer with his back injury, beginning of the season too. What did you see from him tonight, and kind of what does he do for this Boylan offense?
I think he got in his zone. I think he really got in his mode. You know, I saw Rashid just really hitting the holes, doing what he normally does. You know, just making plays with his legs. Very strong runner, very elusive when he gets in the open field. It was really good to see him getting back on track at this time of the season. Next week, you got the big one home at Hano, and it's important to get those three-headed monsters, as I talked about, you know, and with Hansard and then Johnson and Alonzo. Now you have those three backs. I think Hananiga is going to have a really tough time really stopping those three backs there because, again, these are three phenomenal players, but I'm glad to see Johnson back tonight.
All right, as you said, it's Hano Boylan next week, undefeated. Just give us an early thought on how these two teams match up.
I think they match up well. I think it's the most anticipated game of the year. It may be probably one of the biggest games in the state line for sure. They match up well. I think, you know, what they both do offensively, they do some similar things offensively. They both execute well offensively. They both execute well defensively. I mean, you're looking at, you're going to be playing some of the top two. You got top two defense and the top two offenses going head-to-head next week. It's going to be a showdown. It's going to be a treat, and I can't wait.
We're excited too. All right, folks, if you want more from Tim on local football, check out the Bailey Pod. You can find that on YouTube as he talks all things high school football with local players and coaches.
Thank you so much, Tim. We'll see you next week for the big game. Up next, we're going to look in on the Big Northern Conference. Big matchup between Stillman Valley and North Boone, and could the Lutheran Crusaders rise up and knock off undefeated Dixon? Stillman Valley and North Boone play two different styles of football. The Cardinals, they want to run the ball as much as possible.
And the Vikings will throw it around from their spread offense. Some years one style wins, sometimes the other one does. So which one would prevail tonight in Poplar Grove? Let's find out. A nice little wave here from our referees as we start the second half. Vikings up 6-0. Stillman's Brock Needs gets the ball, and he keeps the legs turning and fights for the first down. A bit later on in Braden Rogers, he's going to be the guy that finds the end zone for the Cardinals, and they took the 7-6 lead. North Boone trying to respond. Jack Christensen out left for Brad Dahl, and he's going to break a few tackles to get them just a bit closer. A few plays later, Christensen going deep. He's right at us. Gonna find Dahl again. He makes the juggling catch. That's another 6 for the Vikings, and they're pretty pumped up about that one, rightfully so. North Boone forced a punt from Stillman, and on fourth down, Vikings looking for the dagger. Christensen, he's gonna go to the back corner of the end zone, finds RJ Wolski, and they get it. That made it 19-7. Stillman would get a late TD, but they couldn't get another. North Boone takes it 19-14. Wow.
Big win there for the Vikings. Well, it's been an up and down first month of the season for the young Lutheran Crusaders. Tonight, they needed to rise up in a big way at home against 4-0 Dixon. Gavin Sanders started the year playing running back, playing a lot of quarterback now, hands it off to Daniel Ballard, who had been the QB, but nothing there. Tough going for the Crusaders offense all night. Sanders taking the snap, but the big TFL by Devon Wallace. The one thing the Crusaders had going for them was great linebacker play again by Hunter Evans, number 55. He must have been in double digits in tackles in the first half. Here he comes again. Watch for number 55. There he is. Brings down the QB for the sack. Dixon was quiet until late in the second quarter. Tyler Shaner finds, hey, Cullen Shaner. Shaner to Shaner, the Dukes went on to beat the Crusaders 42-0.
Our next big northern matchup is Genoa Kingston against Winnebago. GK was looking for its third win. Bago was going after its second. We'll kick things off in the second half. And the man, the myth, the legend, folks, Supreme Muhammad back to return. It actually looks like he's going to go down right here, but he breaks a few tackles, finds his way to the perimeter, and we know how this one goes. Goodbye, my friends. There's a reason he's the fastest guy in the area. That score makes it 14-6, Bago. Next possession for GK, Brady Brewick has the answer. He's going to shed off a defender here, and he's off to the races. And into the end zone he goes. After the missed two-point conversion, it's 14-12 Indians. But Muhammad simply cannot be stopped again. He's got space on the outside, and it's time to turn on the Jets. Another long touchdown run for number 7, and it's 20-12 Indians. GK will respond and punch in another to take us to overtime, tied at 20. Winnebago will fire first. It's Mitchell Cunningham. He rolls out and has Patrick Young wide open for the score, but a missed two-point conversion gives the Cogs a chance. GK was set up with 4th and 27 after this sack from Cody Craviata, but a Bago penalty gave the Cogs a first down and an opportunity to score. It's Brewick on the carry, and he's going to muscle his way in for the touchdown. Now the Cogs will go for 2, and it's Nathan Kleba on the keeper. He's got it, and that's game. Genoa Kingston wins 28-26 in overtime. The Cogs are now 3-2. What a game. Also in the Big Northern, the Byron Tigers rolled past Oregon 51-0, and the Rockets grabbed their first win, beating Rockford Christian 21-16. All right, the Rochelle Hubs are a very good team this season. They could make a deep playoff run again in Class 4A.
They won 3 of their first 4 games, but tonight they were up against probably the strongest team on their schedule, the Sycamore Spartans. Taylor Castro had that game covered. She joins us now. Hi, Taylor.
Guys, Sycamore is ranked 2nd in the state this week in Class 5A. The Spartans reached the state semifinals the last 2 years, and they are loaded again with talent. They were on their home turf tonight for this one. The Spartans were celebrating homecoming too, with a few players getting honored at halftime. A lot of action came before that. Rochelle's Grant Gensler on a nice 15-yard run until Miles Galindo caught up to him. Galindo is a problem for the Hubs offense, and here's another one. Why not one more? He comes out of absolutely nowhere to make this play. Gensler this time on defense for the Hubs with a massive tackle to stop this run. Defense dominated the first quarter. It wasn't until the second when the scoring started, and Sycamore's Tyler Curtis kicks things off. The Spartans strike first. It's 7-0. Spartans QB Burke Gotcher takes this one for himself and fights for those extra yards. Gotcher had himself a game, and I think he had a very proud little fan. Now potentially the play of the night here, Gotcher on the logo. Carter York goes long, he's double teamed, and it goes right through the defender's hands and into York's for the touchdown. Here's another look at it. Ball is secured. What a play, and that momentum keeps going. The Sycamore Spartans are victorious over the Rochelle Hubs 21-6. Rochelle will try to bounce back next week at home against Marengo. Sycamore will try to keep rolling against Canelan. Guys.
All right, thank you, Taylor. Let's check out some NUIC action at Forreston. The Cardinals hosted West Carroll, and Forreston doesn't mess around, folks. Caleb Sanders gets the handoff here from Brady Gill straight up the gut, and he'll take it 45 yards to the house for the first score of the game, and it's 8-0 Cardinals. It's a quick 3-and-out for West Carroll, and this time Forreston's Alex Rhea will find the end zone. 16-0 Cardinals in the first, and why not one more for good measure? Gill going through the air this time. He's got Rhea for the 25-yard touchdown pass. The Cardinals improve to 5-0. They defeat West Carroll 46-0.
Also in the NUIC, the Fulton Steamers won against the Dakota Indians 38-8, and the Dupec Rivermen knocked off Galena, boy, impressively 62-14. Also the Stockton Blackhawks victorious over the EPC Wildcats 35-8. Lena Winslow is going to play tomorrow afternoon in Decatur against St. Teresa. In 8-man football, the Milledgeville Missiles beat the Hiawatha Hawks 74-34, and Polo takes the win over River Ridge 42-6. Christian Life victorious over AFC 28-22. And the Amboy Clippers beat the Cambridge Ridgewood Spartans 48-42. Well, we have more Nick 10 action coming up next.
We'll have the Battle of Belvedere, and would this be the night Harlem's offense finally got a jump start in Freeport? Hananiga fans have been counting down the days to the Indians' matchup with Boylan next Friday. The players couldn't get ahead of themselves, though.
No, the Indians, they had to stay focused on tonight's game against the East E-Rabs. This game was at Swanson Stadium. E-Rabs at their own 22, Twain Phillips tosses to Javius Catlin, who finds some running room, powers through, but the ball gets stripped by Lucas Poppy. Poppy going to take it the other way for a couple yards before being brought down. Indians ball now at the 4. Cole Warren just hands it off to Poppy, and he will take it to the end zone. No problem there. Hananiga again at the 12. Warren finds Eston Fichter this time, and he will zoom for the end zone. And the touchdown there. The 2-point conversion also good. Let's go to the second quarter now. The Indians' Grayson Mott are running hard, and he will dive for the final yards and the 8-yard touchdown. All Hananiga beating the E-Rabs by the final 50-12.
In Freeport, our guy Logan Schwartz up and walking around. They hosted the 3-1 Huskies, but Harlem was only averaging 15 points per game, and many of those were scored by their defense. We'll start with the Pretzels' first drive. Peyton Woker winds up and has his guy Diedrich Macon downfield. One heck of a catch there, and that's a Freeport first down. A few snaps later on 4th and 5, Woker rolls out right and finds Austin Hilby in a tight window for 6. That makes it 7-0 Freeport. Harlem will shut the Pretzels down after that one, though. Freeport back to punt on their next drive, and the snap goes high. It's blocked. Isaac Johnson is all over it, and he takes it back for a touchdown. Big special teams play there from the Huskies. Harlem wins 32-19.
Next, the Battle of Belvedere, the Bucks and the Blue Thunder at Milt Brown Stadium. The Blue Thunder had won 6 straight over their crosstown rivals. First drive at the Thunder, Eric Roman finds a hole, moves into open space, and he's going to come up with a huge game. That was at the start of the game. Trent Dinsmore also out of the backfield, going to punch it in for North, the big fullback. He's got some quick feet too, doesn't he? 7-0 lead for the Blue Thunder. We knew Belvedere would be ready for this rivalry. Certainly they would be up. Jason Dean going to get it off around the end, and watch him do a nice job avoiding a tackle there and takes it deep into Belvedere North territory. Gunnar Vornma next for the Bucks. Going to try to punch it in, and he does get in, and how about that? We were all tied at 7 at that point. But this offense of the Blue Thunder, just too much to handle for pretty much every team. Eric Roman going to get it again, and another TD there puts his guys back up by 7. Belvedere North goes on to dominate this one, winning it 41-14.
Up next, it's our Overtime Spotlight segment.
He is Freeport's Swiss Army knife, a guy who can do it all on the football field, just like his father used to do. More and more athletes are specializing in sports, or they specialize in one position within a sport. Well, none of that applies to Freeport senior Diedrich Macon. He is a true all-around athlete in every sense. We bring you his story in the Benchmark Exteriors Spotlight segment. Every time you look up at a Freeport game, you see number 7 on the field, whether it's at receiver, cornerback, or returning kicks. Diedrich Macon also sometimes passes the ball. He was a quarterback in 8th grade.
He could play any position on the field. He's also talking about play center. We need, our guard went down. I could play guard there. And I believe it because he has that drive to him.
About the only time Macon comes off the field is to get a quick drink of water. Do you ever go to the coach and say, Coach, I'm kind of gassed, I need a break?
No.
Why is that?
I don't know. They always taught us if you want to be a dog, you got to play both sides of the ball. So I think that's just where it came from, just wanted to be a dog.
Opposing teams now avoid kicking the ball to Macon after a return of few to the house the last couple of years. It's much more difficult to keep the ball away from him when he lines up at receiver. What do defenses do to try to take you away?
Last week, Auburn rolled safety on top. Week before, Belvedere put linebacker in front, stacked the safety behind them.
They got to make sure they account for where he is. They're going to play high-low on him. They're going to have a safety over top of him. He's never going to be man up.
In Freeport's opening game against Belvedere North, Macon lined up outside in the red zone, one-on-one with one of the best corners in the NIC-10, Nico Bertolino. Macon won that battle for the touchdown. Do you feel like you can be stopped in that situation?
No.
Just as impressive as Macon's athletic ability is his work ethic.
He comes in daily to work. You know, he's a guy that he's here early. And when the games, he's sweeping up the locker room before we leave out. And that's the honest God truth.
Macon not only excels in football, he was first-team all-conference last year in basketball. He exploded for 42 points in a game against Jefferson. That's the second highest single-game total in Freeport history. We've seen these types of achievements before at Freeport on the football field and the basketball court from another Macon. Diedrich's father, Dimitrik, was a standout in both sports before graduating in 1996. In basketball, he is the second leading scorer in Freeport history. Now he's often in the stands watching his son play.
It's very enjoyable. I love seeing it. I love seeing him carry out, doing what he's blessed. He's better than me.
The entire Macon family is athletically gifted.
If you see Macon on the back, you know you have an athlete, regardless of him or his sisters or brothers, whatever.
Diedrich's older brother, Dimitrik Jr., was also a great Freeport athlete. He died, though, suddenly 2 years ago, leaving a hole in the Macon family.
It hurt pretty bad. It happened the day of a basketball game, so that was tough.
How did you get through that?
Days just go on.
A year from now, Macon hopes to be playing football at the college level.
I got offers from Miami, Ohio, South Dakota, and then right now I'm talking to Iowa.
He is a true example of what we try to build since I've got here. You know, being an outstanding athlete, but an even better person. He is consistently growing, consistently getting better.
Well, Freeport opponents are going to breathe a little bit easier next year when Diedrich has graduated, but not too easy because he has a younger brother who is a freshman.
That means more great highlights from Freeport will be coming our way. We'll be right back. All right, it's that time of the night where we bring you the best highlight captured on our cameras.
It's the Napleton Auto Group Play of the Night. Harlem, Freeport, Isaac Johnson going to get in there for the Huskies, block the punt, and take it back for a touchdown. Big special teams play there by the Huskies. Hey, if you're going to face the Huskies, you got to be ready for their special teams.
Yeah,
because
right?
they are good. That is our Play of the Night. Be sure to join us every Friday night for Overtime right here on Fox 39 at 11 p.m.
Remember, you can also catch our highlights anytime on our website at mystateline.com. That does it for this show. Have a great night, everyone.
And enjoy your weekend.